Little Franky was thrown away by his parents because he was too naughty. Then Franky, whose name at that time was Cutty Flam, was picked up by a legendary shipbuilder named Tom. He made Cutty Flam his student. Another of Tom's students, Iceberg, thought Cutty Flam was a strange name and just called him Franky. Franky always uses his time to build warships rather than helping Tom build sailing ships. But Tom considers Franky and Iceberg's abilities to be equal and someday they will become great shipbuilders. When Franky was 12 years old, Tom became a defendant for building a pirate ship belonging to Gold Roger, the Pirate King. But the government gave Tom 10 years to advance the city of Water 7, which at that time was in decline, by building a sea train so that Tom could escape the charges. Tom's workers started working hard to build a sea train. There was one failed sea train that became their experiment, namely Rocketman. Franky also helped even though he was reluctant at first. On the day of Tom's pardon, the court ship was shot and destroyed by CP-5 using the battleship Battle Franky 1-35. So the government and citizens accused Tom and his students of doing it. As a result, Tom was again indicted and sentenced to death. Franky, who could not stand the slander from the government, hit Spandam so hard that his face was destroyed. Franky chases puffing Tom, who moves to Annie's lobby and then confronts him. Finally, Franky was hit by a sea train and his body fell apart. Cutty Flam was declared dead by the government. Franky is alive and finds an abandoned pirate ship. The destroyed parts of his body, especially the front, repaired themselves. 4 years later, the new Franky then visited Iceberg, who was then mayor, and Franky was asked to immediately leave Water 7 while carrying the Pluton plan and was asked to change his name to Franky rather than Cutty Flam, because Cutty Flam was presumed dead by the world. Franky still remained at Water 7. People who wanted to enter the Galila company but were rejected immediately turned to Franky. Finally, Franky had subordinates, namely these people, and created an organization called the Franky family. The Franky family is not engaged in lawmaking, but in a legal business. The goal is to collect 200 million berries for the boss, Franky. It is possible that the money was used to build the ship that Franky dreams of. Franky managed to get 200 million berries from the Straw Hat Group. When he returned from his business, Franky's family and his house had been destroyed. Angry Franky then kidnapped Usopp and took him to the warehouse under the bridge, Tom's worker headquarters. This is where Usopp and Franky were taken by CP9. Franky was captured by CP9 because Pluton's plans were known. Together with Nico Robin, Franky is now taken to Annie's lobby. Franky managed to escape CP9 with Robin, but Robin did not escape. Finally, Franky fought with the Straw Hat Group to defeat CP9. After Franky defeated Fukuro, a member of CP9, he chased Spandam, who took Robin to remove the sea stone handcuffs. After the sea stone handcuffs binding Robin's hands were released, Franky helped the Straw Hats escape from Annie's lobby. At the end of the story in Water 7, Franky joins Luffy's team as a carpenter, ship repairman. Franky is very skilled in shipbuilding. He has created 35 warships that can defeat sea monsters. He has also transformed himself into a cyborg and become his 36th homemade warship. He has a BF-36 tattoo on his body. Franky's energy comes from the cola he puts in his stomach. There are 3 colas stored. If all the cola runs out, Franky won't be able to use his moves. The coup d'event move uses, more precisely drinks, a lot of cola. Franky can adjust the pressure of the coup d'event move so that it only requires a little cola. He received a reward of 44 million berry for his involvement in the Annie's lobby incident. It later increased to 94 million berry after the Dressrosa arc. After the raid on Onigashima, his bounty was increased to 394 million berry.